We talked to one man who came over right after this happened, and he said it was just really frightening to see this young girl after she'd been hit by this truck. We also just spoke with police who gave us an update and told us that the 15-year-old was trying to cross Merrill Road with her sister, trying to get to the bus stop so that she could get to Terry Parker High School. They say thankfully there were no injuries. They didn't have to pull anyone out of this apartment. And once it caught on fire, everyone was able to make it out okay before they actually got here, but you can see just how extensive that damage is. No, nothing that they have shared with us just yet. They are telling us more about how these young women were found. We're told that they were found here with no clothes on, and right now police are here still trying to just piece together what happened, going through the scene. The medical examiner was here earlier. They just left a short while ago, but you can see it's still very active here because Session and Clark, this intersection here, it's still blocked off. Yeah, she has some company now. She got here at 2:15 because she says she's so excited about Trader Joe's coming here to Jacksonville Beach. And as we were out here for most of the morning, we saw the line grow and grow and grow. So check out what it looks like now. Well, GBI told me here earlier today that their investigation is still ongoing because they're trying to piece together exactly what happened. They weren't able to tell me if a crime had been committed or not, but they did say that they're not searching for anyone. They don't have any persons of interest. The Department of Homeland Security has the funding it needs to operate for the next week. The Miami Gardens police chief is arrested and charged with solicitation of a prostitute, and happened just overnight at a hotel. Police in an undercover sting put an ad online for an escort and listed prices. According to reports, Chief Stephen Johnson answered the ad and talked with a woman over the phone. When he got to the hotel, he was arrested. Since then, he's been fired from the police force. New security measures are now in place at an Orlando amusement park after 2 people were shot last weekend at Fun Spot. Security is now conducting bag checks and using metal detector wands. Off-duty Orlando police officers are now coming to work an hour earlier and are stationed at both of the park's entrances instead of just being scattered throughout. A 21-year-old man was arrested in last week's shooting. One person was hit in the arm, another in the foot. Morning, in half an hour, we're not only going to hear from the sheriff, but also from the school superintendent here, as well as a few board members, because this is really impacting this small community, especially students at the elementary school where 4 of the children who were killed yesterday attended. So this is really going to be a chance for us to hear how that community is dealing with this and helping students out, and also to get an update from the sheriff, because there's still a lot of questions in regards to what happened here in Bell yesterday afternoon. Now, you know, definitely it's still a sense of shock here on campus this morning. It just happened a few hours ago, and students that I talked to are really still shaken up, just thinking that there was a shooter here on their campus at their library, at a place they consider to be safe, a place where they were just studying, getting ready for final exams, when they hear something coming over the intercom saying that there is a shooter in that area, asking them to call 911 if they've been hurt. Just very frightening for a lot of the students that I spoke with here today. Some of them said they haven't been able to sleep. They've just been up, kind of on edge, and just trying to figure out how something like this can happen. I did, and of course it was very emotional for Mr. Davis, as it has been for so many people that we've seen come out to this memorial today. You have people we've seen crying here, people kneeling, people praying, and then you also have people here with signs and protesting. But for Mr. Davis, he says it brought back memories of his own son's death. So we're almost here. Is this something you've been thinking about, actually being at this spot?
Absolutely.
Why do you think it's so important for you to be here?
For that there's 2 sides to a story, and I hope that people can realize he's not guilty until he's proven guilty.
We're going to get to all those stories, but we have to get to the weather first, and Blake is standing by with our forecast. Hey, Blake. All right, thank you, Blake. New this morning, at least 1 person is dead after a crash on Interstate 295. The killer or killers of 2 Jacksonville teenagers gunned down 14 months ago are still out there, and 2 families still have no justice in their daughter's death. New this morning, a healthcare worker at Texas Health Presbyterian Hospital has tested positive for Ebola. That's the same hospital where Thomas Duncan, the first person diagnosed with Ebola here in the U.S., died on Wednesday. The CDC will run tests on the worker to confirm the diagnosis. Meanwhile, enhanced screening for Ebola began yesterday at 1 major airport. That's New York's JFK International. It's the very first airport in the country to begin the extra screenings. Next week, 4 other airports will join JFK in targeting passengers traveling from hard-hit countries like Guinea, Liberia, and Sierra Leone. The additional protection includes checking passengers for symptoms, asking them questions about their travel history, and taking their temperatures with non-contact infrared thermometers. This is in addition to screening passengers before they board flights headed to the U.S. The goal is to stop anyone with possible symptoms of the deadly virus from getting past airport gates and into the general public. The CDC says the 5 airports receive 94% of air travelers from the afflicted countries. The family of Ebola victim Thomas Duncan said he had a 103-degree fever the first time he went to the hospital and told staff he just arrived from Liberia, but they sent him home. His nephew spoke out, and his uncle said his uncle was treated unfairly because of his race. Duncan was sent home and admitted to the hospital 2 days later. When he went back with more severe symptoms, he was in isolation, but he died within a week. Hospital officials say they're evaluating the chain of events leading up to Duncan's death this week. Even more animals are finding forever homes. Yesterday, a total of 671 animals have been adopted. This event has been going on since Friday, and it's still going on today. So here is a picture of Calypso, an 18-month-old Australian cattle dog. A viewer sent this to us and says that she was the first to be adopted yesterday morning. Channel 4's Chris Parento was at the fairgrounds and has more on the mega pet adoption.
Marcus, that's what you need. You need
like peekaboo?
No, 3 or 4 of them, kids.
Oh, I'm gonna.
Kumasi, you too.
I'm gonna stick with 0.
What about you, since you handing out children? You get a child. You get a child.
Yeah. Or how about you be the babysitter?
No. No to all
Would you
the
let
above.
Blake watch your children?
That's a good question.
I'm sorry, what'd you say?
Go ahead.
Kumasi, what are people there saying about the coverage Ferguson has been receiving over the last couple of weeks?
Well, Adrian, they're telling me that the images coming out of Ferguson, the images of violence, of division, that is not who Ferguson is. They paint a picture, when I talk to people downtown here, of a town that's quiet, that's quaint, that is inclusive, and now they are pushing to make sure that the world knows that. On the weekends, this is one of the most popular places in Ferguson, the farmers market.
How you guys doing? They're dancing. Yeah, my son is.
It's just one of the things Kenneth and Stephanie Wheat say they love about their city, a place they call diverse.
I mean, I love it here.
What about you, Stephanie?
We rented here first in 1999. We rented a house here, and we decided that we liked the community so much that we decided to purchase our home here. And the nice thing about it is that being a multi-ethnic couple that we are, never one time ever in the entire time that we've lived here have we had anything derogatory said to us, which we all know happens outside in different areas, but here that doesn't happen. And so this whole situation is a shock.
They admit racial profiling does exist, and sometimes people don't want to have difficult discussions. That's why they decided to get involved in community organizations when they moved here. Are there other ways, though, to see change besides that, you think?
Well, I mean, as far as change, I mean, we just need to get out more, especially us, say African Americans who are involved in council meetings and things like that. We just need to get out more and just push it more and just really show that this is what they need to do.
Despite the challenges, the Wheats say they love Ferguson, and a lot of other people do too. Everywhere, people had on these I Love Ferg shirts, and these I Love Ferguson signs were in front of quite a few yards and stores. They were the brainchild of this man, Brian Fletcher, a former mayor of Ferguson.
I was cooking omelets for a profit for the fundraiser.
Yeah, he was talking to us.
Said, you know, what can we do to draw the attention, to change the tone of a tragedy to something that can be positive? And it just popped in my head.
It just popped in his head.
You know?
Now he and his longtime friend Pam Peters are collecting donations and handing them out. They say the requests for these signs keep coming, not just from people here in Ferguson, but Fletcher says from across the country. What do you think the signs really represent for you?
Represent me pride, honor, you know, integrity. I mean, love, and just a whole bunch of things. Instead of me going out there walking and cussing somebody out and saying, why don't you just stop this violence? You know, this is my way of saying I love Ferguson.
And later today, other people who say they love Ferguson are planning to meet here at the farmers market and then go out in the community to visit different businesses here in Ferguson. They say it's one about supporting businesses, restoring businesses who may have been hurt through all of this that's been going on, and also restoring a sense of community. Reporting live in Ferguson, Kumasi, Aaron, Channel 4, the local station.
Kumasi, you saw Ron Davis meet with Michael Brown's family yesterday, I'm understanding. What does Ron Davis have planned for today?
Well, today there's actually an event called the Peace Fest, and Michael Brown's father is expected to be at that event, so Ron Davis will be attending that along with Tracy Martin, the father of Trayvon Martin. It's just a really big community gathering, a message of peace for this community ahead of Michael Brown's funeral, which is going to be held tomorrow morning. So that's one big thing that he told me he is looking forward to attending today. Marcus?
Kumasi, we've seen countless rallies, all in support of Michael Brown and his family members and friends. But what about anything in support of Officer Wilson?
Well, there has been a lot of support for Officer Wilson, not only online with the fundraising efforts there, but also events here in Ferguson and in St. Louis. There was actually a rally yesterday. There's another rally planned for today. So we will be attending that rally. And of course, we'll bring you that story coming up tonight at 10. Most funerals don't involve a pastor firing a gun.
Y'all probably wondering why I did that.
But this one did. And while the gunshots weren't real, the message about life, death, and consequences was. It's a message Bishop Rudolph McKissick Jr. and Pastor John Gons wanted to drive home as they celebrated the life of 16-year-old Devron Crowden. Crowden and William Oliver were friends.
We would always go to the park and we would just chill and play basketball, and he would just light up the whole park. He had everybody laughing. We would go around and just be chilling, and he had a whole scene just laughing.
Crowden's family, classmates, and friends came together to remember him. Someone shot and killed the teen as he waited at his bus stop in northwest Jacksonville. He's the 5th person under the age of 18 shot and killed in the area this year.
I'm a young black man too, and I feel like that could be me out there.
There's more to life than this, brother.
Gun in hand, Bishop McKissick encouraged teens listening to stop the cycle of violence after acting out the biblical story of Cain and Abel, a man who killed his own brother. The pastors even invited those who wanted to change their lives to come join them on the pulpit. Oliver said using the gun and the overall message was powerful.
It was hard to look at, but you had to see where they're coming from. You had to really understand why they did it, because he's showing us what we doing to ourselves. And like, we talk about Ferguson, we talk about how Jacksonville is, but it's really, you got to start with us right here.
This is the second funeral held here at Bethel Baptist for a teenager shot and killed here in Jacksonville in just a matter of weeks. Bishop McKissick and Pastor Gunn said they wanted to deliver a message so powerful that hopefully they wouldn't have to host another one.
Come on, are y'all listening? He's trying to break the cycle.
Bishop McKissick and Pastor Gunn said they really wanted teens to listen, so it couldn't be a typical funeral service.
There's a song, there's a prayer, there's crying, then there's this sermon, then there's this come give your life to the Lord call, appeal. But we chose to do it differently because we wanted to communicate that there is, as he said, consequences to every choice.
But with those consequences, pastors say they wanted those here to know there are options, forgiveness, and most importantly, love.
You never know if killers will be here. We don't give up on the killers. We can't. My hope is some are prevented from going that way. Those that are in that way be changed today and leave that way.
Using a young man's death to steer teens toward a new look at life. In downtown Jacksonville, Kumasi, Aaron, Channel 4, the local station.